We're covering 5 tips for taking product photos. So this is just high level. We're not getting into the weeds about it. If you want more details, we are happy to share that information. But again, this is high level. So with that being said, I'm going to let Kelly have number 1.
All right. Using your camera phone or a camera, whatever works best. I mean, the cameras on the phones nowadays, they are not bad. They are really good cameras. I use my phone personally to list. I take my pictures on my phone and just put them right into my eBay, the eBay app, and I can upload my pictures that way into my eBay listings, and then I can just take my eBay listing and share it out, and I never have to download my pictures onto my computer, and it just goes straight to my eBay app right there. I can, some people like to go old fashioned and use the camera, but
I love that. I absolutely love using the phone. I have tested a couple of different phones. So I've tested the iPhone, an LG, a Samsung, because I clearly have 4 phones. We know that's a running joke, but I do have 4 phones. And so I've tested on all of those phones in different versions, newer versions, older versions. And I have to say, for me, the iPhone really does take some of the best pictures. They really are really good. Okay. Some of those other phones have good phone qualities, and maybe I'm not buying the $2,000 phone. I'm maybe buying the $500 phone or the $600, $700 phone, or maybe even the $200 phone. But the point is that I feel like the iPhone, it really takes the best picture of all of them. So, like Kelly said,
I can't tell you, I've never had an iPhone.
Oh, what do you use? Samsung?
Samsung. Well, I've had for a while, I had one of those Microsoft Windows phones, like a long time ago. That was like 5 years ago. But since then, it's pretty much been Androids. Right now, I have Samsung. I have so we are Team Android over at our house.
I am an Android lover too, for the most part. But when it comes to pictures, like I can't. Nothing has beat the iPhone. I have a Samsung. I've bought 2 different Samsungs. One's a cheap one a little more expensive one, and it still doesn't beat the iPhone. Even if it's the older model iPhone. Like I had an iPhone 6 taking pictures. Like, okay. This is crazy. And then I got an LG. I spent a little bit of money on that LG, and I still like, what? I get the quality. So again, maybe I suck at the whole, it needs to be this pixels and blah, blah, blah. Cause they talk about all these other features. And I'm like, look, I just need a phone that can take pictures. That's my level of ignorance. That's what I roll with. I just need a phone that takes pictures. And whatever happens, happens. So it is sort of funny because I don't know enough about all of the features of the phone. I can just say, with my level of ignorance being high, the iPhone takes the best pictures for me. So even the old ones. And I do have an iPhone 6 in my drawer. So all right, the next one is your product image should take up the majority of the image space. So when you're taking a picture, you want to make sure you want to get a close-up of whatever it is that you're taking a picture of. Whether it's used items or new items, you want to get as close up as possible and make sure that it's majority of the space. If you are taking a picture and your item happens to be in the center and it's super tiny, that means that somebody has to use their pinchy fingers to even look at your image when it comes up. It's going to definitely impact your sales, because if people have to squint to see what the product is, they're not going to be interested in it. So if you pull up, like, the way that you can tell whether or not you feel like you have decent pictures for your particular product, pull up similar products on different platforms and see what those images look like. So let's say that you are selling, I don't know, coffee mugs. So go over to Etsy, go over to Amazon, go over to eBay and pull up a few pictures of coffee mugs and look at those, and then look at yours. If yours is really tiny, then it's not going to work out for you. You need to take new pictures and take a better picture of it, get a close up, you want people to be interested in it just by visually seeing it, because we're sensory creatures. We're sensory creatures. It's based on what we see, smell, taste, taste, feel, whatever. And so we're visually stimulated when it comes to the phone. That's a fact. We're actually addicted to our phones. So it has to work. The image has to take up the majority of the picture. So anything you want to add to that, Kelly?
If that's good for like your main picture, but if you need to like do a size comparison, like you need to put, a quarter next to something to show how big it is compared to a quarter, that's all right for like one of your later pictures. But make sure that your main picture is the majority, that your item is the majority of the picture, and don't put extra stuff in there to that really hides the item.
Right. Or doesn't showcase it well. Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right. Next.
Image color should pop. Okay. So if you have something that's pretty much all white and you try to do all white background, it's going to be hidden in that white. So like I use a black poster board, and if I'm like having, let's say, have a coffee mug that's pretty much all white, I put I have the black poster board behind, as my background, and that really that white pops against that black, so people can see it better than someone else who has the same white coffee mug, but they have a white background. It makes it a little harder for us to see it. We like to see that big difference in the with the background. So just like black item, put it against a white background, or just see what makes that item, that background color pops. Even though they say you have the white background for Google and everything, but I've sold plenty of items with using the black background for a white object.
Yeah, I think the white background applies with an asterisk. I think there's something to, and we're going to talk about it, not right now, but there's some scenarios where the white background doesn't make sense. And this is one of those that Kelly is describing, where, it doesn't make sense. But the other thing I would say is that the colors need to pop. If your colors are dull, so let's say you're selling something, I'm trying to think of something that was really bright. So trolls, that fuchsia, hot pink, whatever you want to call it, is a bright, bold, standout color. And everything that Poppy wears, which is one of the characters from Trolls, is bold and bright and colorful. And so if you're taking pictures and your pictures are kind of gray and shaded, or they are dull and they don't really pop, there's a high probability that those that have a picture that pops really well off the phone, that they will probably get the sell over your particular item, unless your item is super, super hot and they don't care what the image looks like. It's the exact thing that they're looking for. So if you're trying to sell, again, we are visual creatures. We're stimulated visually. Definitely make sure that your colors pop if it is something that is brightly colored anyway. All right. Take your photos in a well-lit room or use a ring light where it makes sense. So, there's a lot of things that you could potentially be selling, different things, and you may need to put it on a white background or a black background. But when you take that picture, it needs to, again, there needs to be enough light to where it doesn't look dull or hazy or gray or fuzzy. Like if it is, makes it, you have to squint to see it, or, it kind of makes it look unattractive. If you put some light on it, it actually may make it look a little more attractive. People might be more interested in it because of the fact that you're taking the pictures in a well-lit room. So if you don't have a really well-lit room in your house that you feel like, the bathroom, most of the time, bathrooms are fairly well lit. And I have taken pictures of products in the bathroom before, because there's something about the lighting in the bathroom So if you don't have good lighting, like you don't have a well lit room where you got a big picture window or anything, that's always an option. Or get a ring light. You can get the small one. I have 3 different sizes. Technically, I have 4 different sizes of the ring light. So I have a small, which is the little clip on, and then I have I have 2 smalls. One that's also, I have 2 clip-ons. One that clips on the laptop, and then one that clips on a board so that I can reflect off of it. I have a medium-sized ring light, which I feel like it's a 10 or 12. And then I have the big one, big giant ring light. So depending on what I need to do, I got different ring lights to address whatever I'm getting ready to take a picture of. Go ahead, Kelly.
I was like, to help with your lighting, make sure you're using like a daylight light bulb, not something that's going to cast like a yellow hue. Some of those light bulbs, soft white and soft yellow or whatever, cast like a yellow hue, so your white items look yellow. So
yeah, and then they look dingy.
Yeah,
they look dingy at that point. Yeah,
and watch your shadows too.
Watch your shadows and your reflections, especially when you're using a ring light. If the thing is in plastic. Okay, so I can't give away everything, but there's some other tips that we want to add. So yeah, watch your shadows when you're using the ring lights. For sure. All right, go ahead, Kelly.
White background, asterisk, like we already kind of talked about this, but the white background, or if you need to, a black background, you want to make sure it's not a cluttered background. It's not, you're putting it on the table and you can see someone's half eaten dinner or another back of the picture or something, or yeah. you don't know. I've seen some bad pictures online. I mean, it's like someone just they're in their office and you can see boxes of stuff and they're just holding up the item and taking the picture, and it's like, that's not a good way to try to sell your item. I know it's a quick way to get the picture done, but try to put a little effort there. My goodness. But a white background, hang up. I do clothes, so I use hangers. I have a dress form over here I use for some stuff, to really present that item. So yeah, I'm talking about white background. And we'll go into how to make that white background look professional.
Yes.
Other ways.
Yes.
But just make sure that you're not cluttered backgrounds. And I know people on other sites like Poshmark stuff, they really want your fancy. They have these furry rugs and they have their shirt that you're selling with, and then they put some shoes and flowers and all sorts of seashells or whatnot. Some sites that you want to dress it up like that, and Etsy wants you to kind of dress up your stuff. So you have to learn each platform, how they, what your sellers want what catches your sellers' eyes.
Absolutely.